Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into this webinar on how to increase your webinar engagement with email marketing. My name is Anna Matthews, a product marketer for Zoho Campaigns and your host for today. So before we go ahead, I want to know if the audio and the video are clear. Any issue of communication, do let us know so that we will try our best to sort it out soon. And in case if you have any questions during this session, please feel free to ask them using the questions tab that is there at the top left corner of your screen. My team and I are looking forward to all the questions. At this time, I would like to mention that we also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of this webinar to answer all of your questions. And yes, it would be great to hear from you. So now, without any further ado, let me introduce you to the agenda for today. The agenda includes why webinar email marketing, where I will be speaking about why emails are used for marketing webinars, and which will be followed by an introduction to Zoho Meeting, the in-house application. Next will be a demo to help you understand the integration of Zoho Campaigns and Zoho Meeting. And lastly, I will be discussing a few of the best practices for webinar email marketing. Before beginning, let me ask you a question. What is your main goal as a business person? So let's take a few seconds to think about this. Yeah, so as a business person, what is your main goal? Obviously, you don't have to think much. Sales is the first thing that comes to your mind, right? And if I answered you rightly, then your secondary goal should be having new leads or contacts, which is possible only if you engage with your particular set of audience. And if you want to see your marketing efforts succeed and boost sales, it is essential to make sure that you engage with your audience. So that is the first thing that you have to make sure. So yeah, you can send thousands of emails and can also have 10K followers for your social media channels. But are they engaging with your updates? To make sure that they engage with you, you will have to seek and find ways. And of course, webinars are the best decision that anyone could ever make. Webinars can and should be the biggest asset in your business. You might be wondering why. Well, here are the reasons. You will get leads for zero cost. I am mentioning zero cost here because, so just think, what do we need for the webinar? If we have to conduct a webinar, what all things do we have to, take care of? So just for beginning or for conducting a webinar, we just need to have a decent internet connection, a service provider for your webinar, and a computer or a laptop. So these are the three basic things that you require for conducting a webinar. And that's why I said it's zero cost, and so it is the best organic marketing campaign. I'm sure that none of you would oppose the fact that the videos and images are something that engages the audience, that too in today's digital marketing world. And since business still communicates with emails, you can always depend on emails to promote your webinars. And this is why we are having Zoho Campaigns, the email marketing software. And why not? If emails and videos are something that can work together, then why not compare it? So yeah, to be precise, webinar email marketing is to attract targeted audience and to create awareness and gather feedback. So yeah, that's why we have a webinar email marketing. And yeah, so you schedule a webinars and enable the registration for it. So yeah, you decide that there should be a webinar, and then you are going to schedule a webinar, and you are going to enable the registration for it. Now, how do you let others know about your webinar? Well, how do you spread the word of you conducting a webinar? So you can either put it on your social media sites, or you can also mention the link in your website, blog, etc. So other than that, as I have mentioned earlier, email acts as an advertisement to attract participants and to learn about your webinar. And by attending the webinar, they would get to know more about your brand or your product. So that is the important factor which you have to take into consideration. And since here we will be discussing about webinars, I am going to introduce you to our in-house application, which is the Zoho Meeting. Zoho Meeting can be used to conduct instant and scheduled meetings with moderator controls, engaging your customers with presentations, question and answer sessions, and polls to get a detailed analysis and also reports of people who participated. With this, you can identify your target audience, collaborating with them online using the audio and the video sharing options that is available in the meeting account. And also, you can record, replay, and share your webinars to anyone, anywhere. Now, I will be showing you how to create and schedule a webinar using our meeting account. So this is the dashboard of our application, that is Zoho Meeting. Here, there are options for scheduling a webinar. Before that, if you would like to send reminder emails to your registrants, you can go to the settings here and you can mention the time in which you want to remind them about the webinar that is going to happen. So here I would want my customers or my contacts to receive an email 1 hour before. So I'd be choosing this and it's saved automatically. Now I'll be going to schedule a webinar. So I click on the home button and I'll click on schedule a webinar. So this is what appears when you click on schedule a webinar. To better understand the product, for your better understanding, let's consider an example. So let's assume Silker to be an online magazine company and I am an email marketer for Silker. So I want my customers or I want my contacts to, get to know more about Silker. So what I would do is I would prefer to conduct a webinar. So let's see how Silker is going to conduct a webinar and how Silker is going to promote the webinar using email marketing, that too from Zoho Campaigns. So yeah, here, first of all, you would have to give a title for your webinar. Since I mentioned that I will be giving an introduction about the Silker, the evolution, what type of content that we would be publishing. So these are the things that comes under my agenda. So the title would be Introduction to Silker. Introduction to Silker would be the app title for my webinar. So I would be giving it. Yeah, and here if you see, you can find the description, which is optional, but I would always suggest you to give a description so that the audience or the recipients would get to know what they can expect from the webinar that we are conducting. So join a free webinar to get a basic understanding on Silker. So that would be my description. And also I can give the agenda here. So that is another way where you can present your agenda for the webinar. So yeah, here I can mention the agenda too. And next, you have to set a date and time for your webinar. So yeah, I would be scheduling it for August 1st. And you can also give the time zone. So for example, if it's for the India customers, then you can give the Indian Standard Time, and you can also choose the duration from these options. So yeah, that's how you schedule a webinar. Okay, so these are the details you would see here. And also you can customize the registration form. So if you see here, you would only have the name and the email that the people have to fill in. For example, let's consider an example where I want to know the country of my registrant, from where they are registering for the webinar. So it would be easy for me when I am sending email campaign. So if I want to know their country or their region, I would give the value, or I would add a custom field, and I can save it here. So yeah, the custom field is added, and that's how you customize the registration form. And here, if you see the screen, you will find the link, and this is the link which you have to copy and paste it in whichever platforms you want. And yeah, here you'll find a code which you can embed to your website or your blog, by which you can get more attendees. And yeah, that's how you move forward. So here, if you find, you can see option called automatic approval, where you can change it as manually approved. So the difference between them are, if you are giving the option to automatically approve, then the registrants will be automatically added to the registrants list, and they would receive the information about how to join the webinar after the registration. So if we are going to click on the manually approve, then the organizer or the co-organizers must approve the registrants before they receive information on how to join the webinar. So that's how this works. So yeah, here you'll find the total number of registrants, and here if you are going to give it as manual approval, then here you'd find the number that is manually being approved by the co-organizer or the organizer. And if you're going to give automatic approval, then the total registrants and the approved number, these two numbers would be the same. That's about registrants. And here you can add co-organizers. If you have co-hosts in conducting the webinar, you can add their name and their email address. So yeah, that's about co-organizers. And polls, when we come to polls, we can also create polls while conducting a webinar. So here, since I already mentioned that it's about Silker, I can ask the customers like how well you got to know about Silker. So this is the question which I can ask them. Yeah, so here I can allow my attendees to choose more than one answer, and I can give the answers here. So yeah, that's how you create a poll. So here, yeah, it's mandatory. So answer one can be very well, poor. So yeah, that's how you create a poll. And here you would find the participants of the poll. That's about creating a poll in a meeting. And I hope you got a basic understanding about Zoho Meeting. Now, you would be wondering what you receive by this integration of both the products. So before moving on to both the products, let me give you a small brief introduction about Zoho Campaigns, where Zoho Campaigns is an email marketing software that helps you to create, send, and track emails to build a strong relationship with your leads or contacts. So that's why we use Zoho Campaign. And let's see what this integration will help us with. So with this integration of Zoho Meeting and Zoho Campaigns, you can promote targeted leads as customers by increasing your engagement with them through webinars and webinar promotional emails. And to drive more attendees to your webinar, send emails that include an effective overview of what they can expect from the webinar. And also there are pre-designed responsive templates in Zoho Campaigns, which will help you to ease your webinar email marketing efforts. You can also conduct A/B tests for your webinar email promotions by altering the subject line, the email content, or the sender details in order to track the open rates and decide the best for your registrants and attendees. And last but not the least, you can also track your reports of the emails sent, the number of registrants, attendees, etc. in your Zoho Campaigns account to improve your email marketing the next time, for the future. So that's what you receive by integrating Zoho Campaigns and Zoho Meetings. Now moving on to a short basic demo of this integration. You have to log into your Zoho Campaigns account, and you will have to click on the settings, which is there at the corner of your screen, left corner of your screen. So you will find integration here, where you will have to click on the apps. Here you'll find Zoho Meeting. Since it's already connected, it will show the number of accounts. So one account is being connected. If you have not yet integrated, then this is how it will appear, where if you click on the connect button, then you will find this screen where it shows the actions that are being performed when you integrate your Zoho Campaigns account with your meeting account. So once you click on the continue button, you would be moving on to this. This screen would be visible for you, where you can view the details of which account is being connected with your Zoho meeting. So that's how it happens. And so yeah, here if you click on the contacts, you can find sync services, where you will find Zoho meeting here. You can see the number of webinars that have been created in Zoho meeting, and you can also edit the setup. So once you integrate your meeting account with campaigns, the details that is there in the meeting, in your meeting account, automatically gets shifted or automatically gets updated to your Zoho Campaigns account. That's how it works. So here, if you find, you can edit the setup of your account. So here, if I want my registrants, those who are registering for my webinar, if I want them to get added to any of my lists, then I can do it here. So if I want my registrants to receive updates and newsletters about Silker, I can choose it from here itself. So I would want them to receive it, so I'm selecting it. And if I want my attendees to, attend the events that we are conducting or to receive the details about the events that we conduct, then I'll add them to the list, which is called the Silker event. So, and also this is the pre-mapped fields. These are the pre-mapped fields that is there. So after adding this, or after editing the setup, I'll click on the save button. So that's saved right now. And before creating a campaign, you will have to, decide the list of contacts to send this campaign. So after deciding on the list, so I want here, if you check this list, okay, and contacts are not yet added, I have to create segment for this list. So what I can do is I can add a segment here. I can name it as a subset. So if I want my registrants or if I want my attendees to receive particular emails, then I can create a subset for them. So here, if you find, if you see, you would get the field here where you will have webinar registrants and webinar attendees. So I want my webinar attendees here who attended or maybe who did not attend this webinar. So yeah, introduction to Silker. I want my webinar attendees who did not attend this webinar called Introduction to Silker to be added to another list, which is a subset. So I will click on the save button. Okay, so yeah, that's how you save it. Yeah, so that's how you create a segment for your list of contacts. Moving on let's see about the sign-up forms. So the sign-up forms are used to send emails to a list of contacts, to your list of registrants, in order to make sure that you are sending them further emails with their consent. You can create sign-up forms to get the consent of your registrants who are not there in your already existing mailing list, and you can send them those to make sure that you email them with their consent. So for that, we have to create sign-up forms. And for creating a sign-up form, you have to click on the contact and you have to click on the sign-up form. So this is the page that would appear, and you have to click here. So here you'll find multiple designs for the sign-up form which can be used. I will be choosing this template for my sign-up form. So once you create a sign-up form, you can embed it or you can attach it to your website or to your blog, in order to get more customers or more people who join your list of contacts. So here I want this, and here I can also edit it if I need it. So yeah, that's how you do about sign up forms. You save and proceed, and here once you save it, you will receive a code which you can embed to your website. So you have to associate a mailing list in order to get the code. So yeah, I would associate it to updates and newsletters, the mailing list which I have. So that's how I associate. So here you find the code. You would have different codes for different platforms. So this is a button code. Once you click it, you can click on the generate code in order to find the code. And here if you see, you can find the QR code also, which you can copy and paste it in your emails, etc. So this is how you copy, and yeah, that is about sign up forms. Now let's move on to creating a campaign. So to create a campaign, you have to click on the campaigns option, and you have to click on the advanced campaigns. Here in the advanced campaigns, you have to again click create a campaign, and here you'll find Zoho Meeting, where you have to again create a new regular campaign. So this is a screen which would appear, and here there are 4 steps that is to be carried out in order to send out your email campaign. So first of all, as I said, this is for Silker attendees. I want my campaign name to be Introduction to Silker. This is the same name which I gave for my webinar, so that the next time when I log into my account, I would not get confused of why I created this campaign. So here it's better for me to give the name as Introduction to Silker webinar. And here you find the webinar. As I said earlier, these details will automatically get stored here. So that is choosing the webinar, and the subject line also I can give it here, join our free webinar. Hi, join our free webinar. So yeah, that's how you do the subject line. And here you would have to provide the sender name so that your recipients would get to know who sent the email. So here, if you've noticed, I've given the company name also. As you all know, people might tend to forget your name, but the brand value that your company is having, people would not forget it that easily. So it's always better to give your company name along with your name, so that there are chances that you have more open rates for your emails. So that's about giving in the basic information of your email campaign that you're going to create. And I'll click on the save button, and here you find multiple methods in which you can create the content for your email. So here Zoho Campaigns, as I told you in the beginning, is having pre-designed, especially designed templates for webinars. I can select any of these templates. Once I select the template, I will be moving on to the editor, the drag and drop editor that is there in the Zoho Campaigns. Here, if you find, you will have merge tags here, which will automatically get updated according to the details that you have mentioned in your Zoho meeting account while you created the webinar. So yeah, here I'll just edit this. If you are looking to learn more about Silker, learn more about Silker, this webinar is for you. So that's the content I want. Yeah, I will just delete this. And here, if you find, you will have this webinar description, which is here, description. So this gets automatically updated here. So since I've mentioned the agenda here already, I do not want this segment to be there. So I'll just delete this. So this is another positive thing about giving your agenda in the description. You need not have to enter it again here. So here you can click on the button, and if you want to edit it, you have the button properties where you can edit it, and you can rename your button. You can keep it as simple as register now. Yeah. So the URL will automatically get updated, and also you can design the button. So here if you find it's too weird, so let's edit this. I will give the width as 250 and the height. Okay, now this looks good. And the style also I can, change. So yeah, this looks good. So I just save it. So that's how you edit the button. And moving on, we have image edit option, where if you click on it, you can upload images from your computer. That's about editing the image. So this is how you create the content for your email. And once it's done, I'll click on the next button and it will take me to the next screen. So yeah, I didn't click it. Well, yeah. Okay, yeah, saving the content. So once the content is saved, I'll be moving on to this screen where I'll have to add a pre-header so that the audience or the recipients would, read it and decide whether to join the webinar or not. So here I would give us join our free webinar or free webinar to learn more about Silker. So yeah, this would be the pre-header. So here I'm mentioning that it's a free webinar, and also I'm mentioning what I'm going to, present it for them. So it's about learning more on Silker. So that's how I would give the pre-header, and you can select the header and footer theme. So yeah, now it's updated, and I will click on the next button. So here, as I've already created a subset, I can click on it. So this subset contains registrants who attended the webinar. So I want them to receive the email. So what I'll do is I'll just click on this and I'll click on the next button, and it will automatically get saved. And since there are no contacts in my list, I am receiving this. Or else if I had contacts, then I would be showing 3 options where I can send the campaign. I can select the option to send the campaign. So that's about creating a campaign. And once you're done with creating a campaign and once you sent out your email campaigns, again you have to go to contacts and sync services. Here you have to click it again, and you can select the webinars here. So these are the webinars that have been created with the other Zoho meeting account. So here if you find, the webinar is listed here, Introduction to Silker. So once you have registrants and attendees, it will be mentioned here. So let's take another example where here you find registrants. Once you click on the number, you would get to know okay, now nothing happened. So once you click on the number of the registrants or the attendees, it will take you to another screen where it will show the total number of added contacts, the re-added contacts, the re-added subscribers. So that's what you would get when you click on the number of registrants and attendees. Well, this is not getting loaded. So yeah, as I told, it will be showing the number of registrants, the detailed description about the number of registrants, how many re-added contacts you would be having, how many contacts have been ignored, how many contacts are there in the unsubscribed list. So yeah, that's how you would see it. So yeah, here if you see, you will find the new contacts, as I said, re-added contacts, duplicate contacts, ignored contacts, those who have unsubscribed from the list, unsubscribed from the associate topic. So yeah, that's about creating a campaign and seeing the report of it in your Zoho Campaigns account. Now we are going to move on to the final chapter of this webinar, that is the best practices in webinar email marketing. You can engage your webinar registrants and attendees by dividing your email marketing into 3 stages, including the pre-webinar emails, the post-webinar emails, and the during webinar emails. So, sending webinar invitation emails to your list of contacts is called pre-webinar emails, and once they register and the time is nearing for the webinar, you can again send them reminder emails where the goal remains the same, which is to get more attendees for your webinar. Ending your webinar, and once you're done with the webinar, I mean, when you are ending the webinar, it doesn't mean that you end your relationship with the attendees. It is in fact a beginning to engage with them for your future emails or for your future webinars. So once the webinar is over, you can send thank you emails to them in order to maintain a relationship with the attendees. You can also probably send we missed you type of emails for those who have missed attending the same. And you can also maybe attach a recorded version of your webinar so that they become, they will feel that you value the customers. So these types of emails are called post-webinar emails. And also during the webinar, you can send emails stating that the webinar will be beginning shortly, which will help you to get more attendees, because the registrants will get reminders of the webinar when they see the emails, and that's how you get more attendees. So these are the 3 best practices for webinar email marketing. And also, while sending out the emails, make sure that the subject line is not too long. So if the subject line is too long, then the audience would not prefer to open the email and see what's there inside the email. So it's better to keep the subject line short. And also the pre-header, most of us usually reiterate the name of our webinar or what the webinar is about, which doesn't add any value to the recipient. Instead, we should try to communicate the benefit of joining the webinar. So as I have mentioned earlier, you can just mention it as a free webinar if it is a free webinar, so that the audience would know that, okay, this is a free webinar, and they would feel like attending the same. And also, I told that it is about, getting to learn more about Silker. So that is the benefit which the audience will have. So that's how you have to give the pre-header for your email. And also, try not to make the content long. So if you have seen my email that had been prepared, you'd find the content to be very short. You have to enter only the main details, that is the time, the date, and also why it's being conducted, the agenda, all those sort of things should be added. And it's better you do not make it too long. So yeah, well, that's all we have time for today. Now is the time for you to clarify your doubts. We are here to help you out. Thank you everyone for attending our webinar. A recording of this webinar will be sent to each of you as soon as possible. And in case of any feedback, you can send it to me directly. My email ID is anna.m@zohocorp.com. You can see it in the screen. And also you can contact support@zohocampaigns.com. Also, any questions or clarifications regarding the product and the product demo is required, please feel free to contact us in any of the email IDs that are mentioned on the screen. Thanks once again for joining us. Now you can shoot your questions.